Hello, ladies and gentlemen from Control the Chaos. Before we begin, this video is a video that we would not like to make, unfortunately. So, if those of you who haven't heard, the author of Berserk, I believe I don't know how to pronounce his last name, Miura, I think?
Miura, I
Yeah.
believe is how you
I
pronounce
also
it.
will add for people new to this channel, none of our videos are monetized, and this
Yeah.
one is no exception. And if
Yeah.
they were monetized, we wouldn't be monetizing this one. So it's not like,
Yeah.
ooh, virality, ooh. Like, it's just something we want to talk about, yeah.
So, unfortunately, for those of you who haven't been in the loop, he passed away on May 6th, and Twitter officially confirmed it, I believe, a few days ago. So, before we begin, as always on Control Cast, whenever we tackle tough situations like this, we just want to, our thoughts and prayers go out to him and his family. Specifically, I don't know if he has any children or a wife, but
To
just in general.
Wikipedia with me.
Yeah. And regardless, we feel for him and his loved ones. Losing someone is not an easy thing to come to terms with. And so just off the jump, we want to say all of us here at Control Chaos, well, not so much Red, but me and David were big Berserk fans. And we just want to wish everyone who's a part of his circle good healing and great support. So with that being said, let's jump right into the video. So this video will be like a mix of things. It's going to be like me and David gushing about Berserk at the same time talking about something that's been a huge topic on Twitter lately. And it's about, well, simple. Give mangaka their fucking breaks. Point blank period.
Now, do we know, and this is just a devil's advocate question here, do we know if, like, this guy had, like, a pre-existing condition, or is it, like, a situation where this is for sure, like, the stress of a mangaka is what gave him this early death?
So,
There's a lot of reactions to this. Thurman, I think it was a few nights ago I retweeted from my account an article about him having that pre-existing condition. I've been seeing a lot of the TikToks diving into like the cause of his death, and it's more or less like he's known that his time on Earth wasn't long for this world, basically, to put it in a blunt manner. So he was trying to, as much as possible, write the end of the series as well as he could, and a lot of people have been theorizing like the last chapter he put out.
I saw that about the last chapter where there was like a whole conversation he had with like this fucking skull thing that almost looked like the personification of death, and people were like, "Oh my god."
So to answer your question, Red, from what I saw on Twitter, he died of like I believe a heart disease.
I looked it up. It's called here. I'm on it right now. Actually, he died of acute aortic dissection, and I believe that's when like the inner linings of like a vein that pumps blood to the heart like break. Let me actually look that up right now. A serious condition in which the inner layer of the aorta, the large blood vessel branching off the heart, tears. So like
basically the same thing that my grandfather died of.
And the big thing to bring up here too, which supports the stress situation here, is this is most common in men in their 60s and 70s, and he was only in his lower 50s.
And people attuned that to stress. That's how stress he had.
Right, because large high blood pressure can lead to this, and that's classic stress.
So the last page, I actually retweeted from the Control Chaos account. I dove back through Twitter here. It was like, the hell do I do now? You bear witness to the end of your journey. It's not always a happy thing. He basically knew, and they say that you know when your time is coming. The closer you get to that. And that's when you get into this like hyperactive mode of like, do I want to finish this or do I want to enjoy my last days? And he stuck with this series for 30 years, and
I
he
can't
wanted
even imagine. Like, I gotta say, put respect on the name if he really did know. I mean, like, can you imagine? Like, this is something that's why I'm kind of worrying about like getting when I get to like my 60s, 70s, whatever. Assuming I do, like. I suppose your mindset just changes, but like I literally can't fathom like being that close to death, having the motivation to do anything. Because when I had the lung surgery that was happening, which I may have discussed occasionally on this channel, I thought, I mean, it was a low chance, but there was a chance that I had lung cancer. And lung cancer survival rate is like not good. Like if you get it, you're it's one of the most like you're pretty guaranteed to die if you get this kind of cancer. So I remember that month before when they didn't know and they were doing all the tests, like I didn't want to do anything. I was just like, what's the point? You know what I mean?
Exactly. And Red, like when I took my first hiatus and I posted like exactly what was going on with me health wise in Discord, like that's why I started living
was that
like
your stomach
more
thing?
Yeah, that's why I started living more for the moment, is because like when you're on death's door, and me being who I used to be when I was younger and doing drugs and being a dumbass teenager, like
as opposed to now just not doing drugs and still being a dumbass.
Well, I'm not doing coke anymore.
I know, I just
but like having to be revived because you OD'd is a scary fucking thing in and of itself, and that's when I'm like, you know what, I'm going to clean up my act. And like when I was there, I'm like, I started wanting to be more of this person that kind of basically lives for today, because once you've been there and had to, you know, see basically what's on the other side, for lack of better terms, you start to get a new perspective on life, and that's something I'm assuming that he had to go through. The closer he got, and knowing if this is the case, to kind of like, okay, where do I land on like?
And I know a lot of people too. Like one of the things that helps them kind of cope with death is trying to create something that outlasts them. And like, because I actually for the first time today finally watched Alexander Hamilton the musical. It's on Disney Plus and shit. And like, there's a line in there too where, you know, the kind of the running theme of that entire musical is that Alexander Hamilton is like a very rambunctious, like, you know, always working. And they're like, what are you always working for? Just relax for a bit. And he's like, I want to create something that lasts longer than I do. You know, I want it to be here when I'm gone, because he was instrumental in creating like America. So like I get that. That's an understandable thing to want, and especially if you're like religious too, which a lot of them were back then. Which, you know, because then you think, oh, I can look down upon it when I'm in the afterlife. You know, so I'm not sure if this guy at all was religious, but I would be curious.
Yeah, and this kind of lays into what I definitely wanted to dive into, and I'll toss it back to Thurman here. Is like, when you dive into what his legacy and his influence has been on the industry, it's insane. You look at a Yuki Tabata, who writes, and the mangaka for fucking Black Clover, wanted to create a shonen-esque version of Berserk, and you can see that there's a direct design influence between the sword.
I don't like it. Like, no dissing, I've just never liked Berserk, but like I respect the work. I wonder if that's why I don't like it.
It could be like Hidetaka Miyazaki, the creator of Dark Souls. There's a heavy influence on that.
Yeah,
you see a lot of like the Death Knight class in Final Fantasy.
Yeah, I'm on the legacy page on his Wikipedia right now, and it says even the Attack on Titan author, Black Butler's author, Durarara's author, Blue Exorcist's author. It's Devil insane. May Cry. It said it's in the tone of Devil May Cry. Wow.
Yeah, it's like insane how much of an influence he's had.
Think about all the shit. Cloud Strife. My God. Think about all the things we wouldn't have without this guy. You could even argue Ichigo.
Yeah, that's insane, right? Because just like because you kind of have to understand that this man, just from his work alone, right, was essentially just someone who just loved writing, right? Like, and Berserk, and you can tell in his work that Berserk had a huge influence. Like, Berserk was a huge influence on the dark fantasy genre, and it did wonders for the genre, mind you, wonders. Like, there's not many people, you know, who like consume manga and anime in general who don't know about Berserk. That's how popular it is. You know what I'm saying? You can even call it the Mario of the dark fantasy version, dark fantasy genre. You know, so
let's make it like, the Zelda.
Fine, whatever.
It's a lot more comparable to Zelda.
I guess that's fair enough. But you see what I'm saying, right? Like the man has been making peak fiction for years, right? And what's interesting about it is the fact that he has just been constantly like pushing the limit, you know what I'm saying, with the series. Like, cause I remember I used to read Berserk back in high school. Cause it's funny, I never knew much. Like, I knew about Berserk, but the only thing I knew about Berserk was the fact that it like the whole like rape scene, Casca, shit like that, right?
I
Like that
remember
was
Rape
like
Horse was something I talked about a lot
yeah,
with
yeah,
people.
like but the thing is though, when I read Berserk, I was just like, wait, there's more to it than that. You know what I mean?
Oh
Like
yeah.
there's way more to the series than just that specific like, oh, Guts wants to kill Griffith. Like the banding Hawk arc was great, bro. Like I was just like, wait a minute, this is not the Berserk. Like I was like, I remember in high school, I was just like, wait a minute, where's the stuff that I was seeing people talk about in in the uh in the series right when I was in high school? But I was, wait a minute, this ain't what the fuck Berserk's all about. This is more to it than that. Like, holy shit, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, it's just really great because like Berserk itself has just been such an influential series to the point to where you're just like, damn, bro, like this, like, cause I'm toxic masculinity. I'm sorry, but me personally, I'm not much of a crier. Never really have been. I'm me personally. I just never liked crying because the toxic masculinity that I grew up with. Sorry, this is how it is. I don't mind crying though. Crying is great. Cry your heart out if you need to. But me personally, for me, that's something I had for myself. But anyway, but it's just like when I heard the news, I was just like, "Fuck, man, that's insane, dude." Because I really loved his work. Like, you have no idea. I never talked about Berserk a lot. You guys probably never see me talk about Berserk a lot. But if I were to make a top 10 scening list, because I do love scening, if I were to make a list, bro, 100%. Berserk will be on that shit. Like, no cap, bro. Like, he has been such an influential person to manga that it's just like shit. It's kind of hard to deny his legacy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and for me too, like, it's never been a series I've really like. I've tried. I've read the first couple chapters. It's not the aesthetic I look for in fiction, but it's something that, especially now, like I'm definitely considering going back and trying to read it because it's something it feels like one of those like you have to read this before you die type series. There used to be books they'd sell. I remember seeing these in bookstores like 1,000 movies you need to see before you die or whatever. Like it really does feel like one of those like regardless of what kind of shit you're into, like this is something everyone should read type series.
Yeah, your Grapes of Wrath, your blah 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 was on the list. Lord of Flies was on there. Animal Farm, yeah, Midsummer's Night, all that shit.
Titanic with James Cameron.
Yeah, but there's definitely Thurman, you and I both read this in high school. Basically, it was my, I believe, sophomore year that time has completely ceased to be a pattern for me at this point. So like my high school days have all kind of muddled together, and like a lot of my early 20s are the same way. But like I think it was sophomore year I started reading this because I wanted to get out of like just your basic battle shonen pattern. And it was like sophomore junior year I started reading a lot more seinen, and this was one of the first ones I read. And for me it was the same thing. Like I kept seeing Rape Horse, I kept seeing like the Griffith Casca scene, all that random stuff. Like this is just filth. I'm like, no, this is so much deeper than that. And it goes to show that like the shock value and a lot of things is usually put more upfront than anything that's meaningful, because that shock is more of a catch for people. It's like top 20 reasons you should not read this book. Number 1, your Watch Mojo bullshit.
Yep, that's true.
And like to me, like, yeah, I don't like the theme, so to speak, being utilized, because it's, and me being a Sword Art Online fan, I realize that that's used a lot in their plot too. Like the sexual assault aspect for like plot purposes in the early.
That's something that can be done well and something that can be done not well.
It's not really done well in Sword Art Online. Ask anybody.
Like, you have like a cartoonishly fucking like like licking her as she's paralyzed,
like and just robots in his titty. But like, and then you have a scene that fuels a plot of revenge, which obviously not the greatest way, but the way they do it in Berserk is a lot better handling for something like that, because characters grow in this versus like, I'm going to climb all 100 floors of Minecraft. Oh, just kidding. I'm going to kill Heathcliff here. Oh no, I'm going to stab. Okay, you get the point,
right? But bringing it back to Berserk.
But like,
let's not desecrate this man's video by talking about SAO too much.
Yeah, but like that's just like the difference in handling of a plot. But 100%, like, this is a series that I definitely recommend that you read before you die, because it is one of the most masterfully written sinning series I've ever seen.
Random question: is there like a place to read this like legally, like
probably
other than just buying it? I guess you just have to buy it, right?
Dark Horse publishes it.
You can get a lot of it on Comixology's Unlimited app, or at least you could, because it was in rotation with like Battle Angel, Alita, and Fairy Tail in there for a while anyway. And Anchor has a lot of Kodansha stuff as well. Or, there's the usual sites. But
we recommend buying it.
Exactly.
I can only imagine now the money would be going towards his family, so that's still something.
Exactly.
That's what we care about the most, honestly. Give his family everything he needs. Is he married? Did you see that on the week?
I didn't find any kids. It's really, there was like, I couldn't find much about his personal life at all, I'll be honest.
Yeah, he wasn't really. He kind of was like an older.
His Wikipedia page is surprisingly short, actually.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
type wife.
It's understandable why most mangaka would want to, especially someone in the dark fantasy genre who, unfortunately, Twitter being Twitter,
I mean, look at how they handle Tabata. Like,
yeah.
Anyway, like, it's literally the entire top 25 right now, minus Dick Fight Island on Amazon's top sellers. I'm not kidding.
Oh God! What? Moving on. So, just this off the jump. I think we've gushed enough about it, but I think we want to switch to a topic that Red will have plenty to say on.
It looks like he wasn't married, actually, because it's like the first couple things people were like wondering, and then like the joke is like someone get this man a girlfriend because he was still single or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's nothing about marriage on his Wikipedia. There's nothing about kids. This looks like this man was like full on just like single his whole life.
Oh, wow. Damn.
Hey, man, I mean, if that's what he wanted, I can't. I mean, think about it. He's the Berserk author. If he wanted someone, like,
yeah.
So, like, I have a feeling he's probably just living his best life.
I mean, in Japan, that might be the best way to handle it.
I mean, some people just aren't into it, man.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He might be on that Senku genius level where he's just so genius, that he's so good at writing manga that like titties just weren't a thing that he wanted.
So, like, the other topic we wanted to discuss here is, well, it's more of the health of the author is being put into question. Is like, I know it's not the magazine that he was published in, but it's like the biggest debate here is like, is the Shonen Jump method viable, where you continue to sit down and write chapter after chapter, weekly on end, or is it more of like time for magazines and publishers to be like, okay, your health is more important than our profits?
I mean, of course it's time for that. It's just a matter of like, basically this is a constant thing that we're fighting against, and unless they're called out for it, a company will always, like, I mean, have you, Thurman, I think you've seen this on Twitter, people calling out Studio Mappa for horrible working conditions.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, like, no matter what, anytime there's like, wow, this company's making some cool shit, there's always going to be some fucking worker that's being like told to work 12-hour days or 14-hour days to get that shit done. So I think step one is we as a society have to kind of be better at just accepting things that take longer, right? So like rather, instead of like expecting like 4 chapters a month, we need to say, you know what, it's okay if we get 2 chapters a month. You know what I mean? And I think that we need to make companies very aware that it's actually a little bit sus if we get a lot of chapters in a month and be like, how, so rather than being like, wow, this company's great because we get 4 chapters a month, we should be like, hey, how's the working conditions over there, huh? I think I'd rather you spread this out a little longer, give them some breaks. You know what I mean? And I think we're seeing that a bit with seasonal anime. But like, yeah, I think we just need to make it very clear that we're okay with waiting. And, unfortunately there's always going to be a group of like fucking 14-year-olds that are like, well, the next episode, I need it now. You know what I mean? But I think we just everyone needs to work together to foster an environment that is accepting towards like more breaks and shit. Which is why, by the way, I talk to, every time I bring up Hunter x Hunter to anyone, the first thing they talk about is, oh my god, it's just that would be my favorite show of all time if it wasn't for all the damn hiatuses. That would be the best show if it wasn't for all the damn hiatuses. It's like, to me, it still is the best show. Like, I don't know if, and by the way, I saw this comment a bunch of places like, oh, I was thinking about getting into Berserk, but now I'm not going to because it's not even going to end. People place way too much.
Actually, the assistant did tweet out like, I'll do my best. So I think the assistant is going to try and wrap up the series.
Either way, even if it wasn't going to, though, like, that mentality is stupid to me. Like, it really is, like, journey over destination. Like, I believe that hardcore. And I think that we just need to, I don't know, like, I love hyperfixating about stories, but, like, and you can come and look at my room. I hyperfixate about some stories. But it doesn't mean that I'm, like, if the author fucking A, does something I don't like, or B, ends, like dies or something, I'm not gonna be like, like just like take the pressure off of them a bit, and instead of like, hey, if you give me another chapter now, like, just appreciate it. Like, think about it, because it's really not like something you're owed. It's a gift. Every chapter is a gift, and that's how I've looked at Hunter x Hunter for years. People are like, I don't know how you can keep reading that show. I'd go crazy. I'm like, to me, it's like every 10 chapters we get, once every 4 years, I'm like, sweet. It's like a little surprise. Like, woo, you know what I mean? So, like...
Yeah, it's insane to me, the fact that people are, because we honestly, like, it's insane, because I don't know if you guys have been on Twitter to see the amount of shit Isama has been getting for the ending of Attack on Titan, but
don't spoil it, whatever it was. Yeah.
But the amount of biting the hand that feeds you, the amount of people that turned on him just because they didn't like his ending is blast.
I can't imagine an ending being so bad that it would ruin like a whole series for me. Like, no matter what it is. Yeah.
I swear to God, right? I literally could not stand the Hitman Reborn ending, Seven Deadly Sins ending, Promise Neverland ending, but like, I would never go, like, but people are like, literally, like, it's literally worrying.
That's
like,
actually it is absolutely worrying. And by the way, that's a perfect example you bring up. Promise Neverland. I have never, me personally, seen a series. This is my personal experience, of course. Seen a series go from like something I love in my top 10 to like absolute garbage. But guess what? Did I say, you know what? Because it went garbage, I hate the whole series and I hate the author forever? No, I said, you know what? I appreciate that author for writing a goddamn banger of a First Arc. I bought the entire First Arc physically in volumes, and I still to this day recommend the series to people. And I say, hey, I think it has a bit of a quality dip, but that First Arc's a fucking banger. Because I'm a sane, fucking measured human being.
So I've talked about this a bit before, and I throw this up in everybody's face about the fucking Attack on Titan ending. I'm not going to spoil it for Red, who's anime only. It's interesting to say the least, but I was a big Game of Thrones fan, right?
Mikasa gets a Fudacock confirmed.
Oh God, no, but like the whole ending of the show is horrible. Is like, and it deviated so much because they caught up to the books. I don't picture if we get the final book that it'll go down the same path.
Well, the interesting thing about Game of Thrones is it wasn't like one person making a bad decision. Like if it was the book, you could blame the author. It was like a whole corporate studio yada yada thing, and that was a bit different because you can kind of be like, well, why couldn't you have just waited, right? The problem there was that they were rushing too much.
Yeah, they were rushing too much, and then literally they decided to put profit over pride. Yeah. So like they literally focused on so much about making money that now they're doing spinoffs and yada yada yada. I'm over here like, oh God, what the fuck are we doing here? But I'm not going to be like, oh, the entire series is fucking horrible. You should never watch it. It's still an interesting dive down the fantasy rabbit hole because it has a great first 5 seasons.
Another great example, I've not seen them, but I hear that Pirates 4 and 5, Pirates of the Caribbean 4 and 5 are awful.
We don't talk about them.
Say again?
We don't talk about those.
Okay, yeah. So like Catherine, Andrew, my one of my best friends, Andrew's fiance, she loves those movies. We watched the first 3, and I was like curious about 4 and 5. To the point where I was like, oh, come on, let's watch them. It'll be fun. We can make fun of them. And she was like, if you want to watch them, you can on your own. I'm not watching them. And I was like, wow, you must really hate these.
They are horrendous.
But notice how she wasn't like, hey, the first 3 are ruined now.
Exactly. Like, that mentality of, like, the entire series is tarnished because of A, B, and C, it just baffles me.
If that was the case, fucking Chris Chibnall would have ruined all of Doctor Who. Fucking Chris Chibnall.
I mean, he did damn near...
Fucking Chris Chibnall. Oh, Chris Chibnall. Oh, God, get out of here.
Like, literally, like, I've never seen a quality dip so bad.
Bro, there's a fucking... I saw such a... Okay, this video is so good. There's literally... Look up The Fall of Doctor Who on YouTube whenever you want to. There's a 5.5 hour long video that someone made analyzing the entirety of his 2 seasons, and it was god tier. That video was amazing, and I watched all of it in a day. Like, on and off.
Yeah, I am baffled at how bad a showrunner can be for that. And that's the entire case I made for Game of Thrones. Is like, after they caught up with the books, like, they had no idea what the fuck to do. They had a bold outline, and that's about it.
Either
and
way.
It's the exact same thing they're going to have.
We should probably return.
That's basically what they're going to have for Berserk if the assistant goes down that path.
I have to assume that if he knew, I do wonder how like if this snuck up on him, like this thing that happened to him, or if it was one of those like I feel like I'm gonna die in the next month. But if he had a feeling that he was gonna pass away soon, I have to feel like for a series that he worked on for so long, he must have like wrote shit down or talked to people. You know what I mean? Like, you got to think, right?
I mean, look at Oda. He has the entire series mapped out in case, basically.
Yeah, because like that's if I was in his position and I'd been working on something for 30 years, the first thing I would do is make sure that some motherfuckers knew, so that at the very least, even if you don't finish it traditionally, like, release the information. Be like, here's how it would end, so people will at least know. Yep. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's kind of what Thurman, you and I both have watched High School of the Dead, right?
Yep.
So I bring it to that series. Like, when I read the news and you messaged me, like, during my Insomniac night.
Man, I miss having Insomniac nights.
There's multiple reasons for that, but anyway.
All the pussy he's getting. Is it or is it not?
That and snoring.
Oh, I see. Well, that's the price you pay for the pussy.
I'm asleep on the fucking couch. I'm sorry. But no, like, there was a moment where I went down, like, there's 2 paths we can take. The assistant could take over, or the publisher could get somebody to finish the story because they have these outlines, or they could go their method of, like, I don't want to even attempt to go down this legacy, because the High School of the Dead author had notes for his assistant to go down, like, hey, this is what I want to do, but the assistant chose not to.
Yeah, I mean, put yourself in those shoes. Would you want to fucking all that on your shoulders? Hell the fuck no.
Exactly.
If I was the assistant, I would be like, I can't touch this. I'm not worthy. Instead, let's just take all the notes he has and release it as like a book. Like, that's what I would do, right? Like, people would buy that. Like, think of the Gravity Falls, like, book that came out where it was, like, formatted as, like, a crazy, like, sprawling journal of notes and shit. Like, literally, wherever he has it written down, his plans, just release that shit and let the fans fucking eat away at it. That's what I would do.
Yep. And that's kind of the conversation we had for Hunter x Hunter for a while, Red, is like that would be an easy way for Togashi to have an out.
As the Hunter x Hunter fan, I will say, yeah, no, considering that the joke for years have been they're the same person, and these are the 2 prominent, like, hiatus havers and yada, yada, yada. And I looked it up, Togashi is a year older than him, although Togashi's conditions are a lot less life-threatening, whereas this guy seemed to have, like, a heart thing. All Togashi really has is, like, severe pain stuff, back pain, the wrist pain shit, what's it called? A carpal tunnel, all that. So that's not shit that's going to kill you necessarily. So I'm hoping
but
that
it makes it very difficult to do what you do.
Exactly, which is hence the hiatuses. But yeah, no, this definitely does. It made me think like,
people,
oh shit,
dude.
what if this was my favorite author, right? And like it'd be tragic, you know what I mean? And like, so I hope, I think going forward, you know, in general, I do think that the authors should have all the help available to them, and they, in the Togashi's case, which I assume he's just I don't know for sure, but the rumors that he's too stubborn to hire like assistants and editors and different artists or whatever, I do think you should probably do that, because it does come to a point where like you got to make the decision: do you want your story to be done, or not? And if you don't want it, what's up?
There's 2 points I want to bring up to that too.
Do you mind if I finish my point?
So
if you don't want if it's not that big of a deal to you, then fine, because they don't owe us anything. I think that's very, very important. Don't pretend like they owe you anything, because they don't.
Hell no.
Yeah, I would say if you do though want it done, like I wish for Togashi's sake and for our sake that we could just get Hunter x Hunter wrapped up so he can just relax and like live his life, because he's got that looming over him, and I know how that feels to have shit looming over him, looming over us rather. So like, yeah, I do hope that this kind of wakes up a lot of people, both the companies and different authors, to take care of themselves more, and get the help they need so that they can still write stories, but not on like a crazy schedule, and do it that's in a way that's still fun and stress free to you. So that's my hope.
Yeah. So like the 2 points I want to bring up in that is like he has mentioned in interviews that he realized that it's time to start wrapping up the series.
The last interview we had, he said it's come to the point where I actually just reread this last weekend, actually, because Dylan was curious. He said the time has come now where either I finish Hunter x Hunter or die trying, and then he said, but I do intend to finish it. So that was as of 2018. He did say, I still do intend to finish this series. So I don't know how he intends that at the rate we're going, but again, there's no reason to be...
That was 3 years. That was 3 years ago.
I do think Corona probably threw a wrench in his plans, to be fair. But that interview makes me wonder if he was just like getting to the point where like I know the Soloist and the Cage author did this because they don't have the best health either, apparently, or they just got sick while they were writing. I don't know what the entire story behind that is, but they wanted to like sit down and focus on writing the end of their story. So I wonder if that's what Togashi's doing, is like wrapping up the entire story in one fell swoop. Like, here's the rest of it. I'd love that. I wish he would tell us that, But yeah, no, I still think he needs to just release a good old fucking Harry Potter Order of the Phoenix 1,000-page book. I'd read it.
Yeah, he gets assistance. That's
in that last interview, he was talking about how he would much prefer to just be a screenwriter and write dialogue and story and like not do art, like. But he's kind of like,
and you can see that for wrapping up Yu Yu Hakusho too, like just helping with the anime. And then the second one is like,
loved it. That was like his favorite part. Was just
it's like I didn't have to do shit. They had rough sketches of everybody, and then they just worked with it. And the second one was like, if you read his author comments, you realize like how debilitating that is, like having to crawl to the bathroom.
Well, because what he has is like some shit where, like, have you ever had that? I'm sure we've all had that occasionally. I don't remember when it was, but I had a moment where I genuinely threw out my back working at Big Boy, and like it's insane. Like you don't even know back pain until you fucking actually throw out your back, and then like to the point where it's so bad that like even lying in bed, like you can't, like if you want to even adjust, like even just adjusting slightly, like your whole body is just in pain.
I don't have that with my back. I have that with my bad knee.
Well, I don't have that often. I've had that once in my life where it was that bad. But I understand, like, where everything just locks up and you can't move. Like, that's why he takes so many hiatuses. Like, the man can't even... He seems to have, like, a condition where he has that often, where he just can't even walk. So, like...
I don't get it often in that knee either. I get it when it's, like, really fucking super, like, either cold or... like raining really bad, like it has been the last week. So like even walking right now is fucking painful to me.
Either way, though, we're getting off topic. I don't want to get too badly off topic of the actual guy we're discussing here, but mainly all this to say, we need to, as always, better conditions. Are very important. Authors don't owe you shit. You have no right to get angry.
They don't
at any
owe
of them.
you a goddamn thing. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me pull it in here since I'd let you guys talk for a minute. Let me say my piece.
Rant, Thurman. Rant.
Because you guys know that I sneak peek onto the toxic side of Twitter. You know,
he's a covert agent.
Covert agent, right? You know, I sneak peek on there, and when I see like,
I'll be right back, guys.
These individuals just like complaining, because the Isama, I hope I'm saying his name right. If I'm botching it, I'm sorry. But like he is a perfect example. You know what I mean? Because it's just like when it comes to what he's dealing with, and it's insane to me how these people are just so entitled. Spit. Like it's what they are. They're entitled, right? Like they don't care. They don't actually care about the actual series. They don't really care about none of that. They're just selfish human beings who, at the end of the day, don't even care about the author. Just want to like it's insane. And it's just like, bro. And I think a lot of people on any Twitter sort of open their eyes a little bit. Like, stop making the jokes about their hiatuses. Let Togashi have his breaks. Like, these people don't understand that like this shit is serious. Like, these are their lives, okay? You know what I mean? Like we need to respect our mangaka more because they don't really do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't do that. And it's just insane to me that we have these individuals, right, who will literally just completely shit talk these mangakas for no, like, if you don't like their series, that's totally fine. You know what I'm saying? No one's saying you have to like Berserk, Promised Neverland, whatever. But at the same time, like, we have to sort of understand that this is someone's life.
Separate the human from the art.
Yeah.
Because like that's just a thing they do. It doesn't create their life. You know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't go on. I would hope you wouldn't go on like artist Twitter and see someone draw a character that you don't like and be like, I now hate this person, this artist. Like, what the fuck? Yeah.
Like, it's insane to me how people care so much about that. Like, it's honestly insane. Because at this point in time, it's just like, bro, like, these people don't understand that what you're talking about is someone's livelihood. Mm-hmm. You're not talking about, you know, oh, just some random guy. You're talking about someone who clearly have been writing for a very long time, because Berserk has been going on since the 80s, 89, right? So it's just, to me, it's just like, if you don't like Berserk, fine. If you don't like certain manga, fine. But you have to kind of, I would say, respect, what's going on here. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to like the series, but don't stop trying to rush Togashi. Stop trying to rush Tabata. Stop trying to make these authors feel bad. Like, because I remember, Red, you saw this. Like, Hirokoshi literally apologizes just for taking a break. Why does this man have to apologize just because he needs a break? That makes no sense to me.
I think it's like, it's way worse for them, but like, imagine how, and maybe you've never felt this, but I have, when we miss like especially back when we were a lot more like strict about uploading and having things out on time and shit. We would be like, oh God, the stress that you'd feel when you don't have shit out on time. Imagine from their perspective, every week they take a break. And this isn't like, meaning that they should feel bad. I'm just saying, I think that from their perspective, they think every time they take a break, they're probably losing hundreds of $1,000s in profit. You know what I mean? It's kind of like how when a company sells a bit less, their stocks dip, right? If they take a break, their editors, their assistants, the whole company, the anime, everyone is probably going to lose a chunk in profit. That's just how it works, because capitalism is fucking awful. I think that they have probably been conditioned to like, okay, but only take a break if it's absolutely 100% necessary, because this is a well-oiled machine. And if you take a break, that means at some point, the anime might get closer to catching up, or this week's magazine isn't going to sell as well because My Hero's on break now. So now that's all this profit that's gone, and then we can't pay our janitor as much. You know what I mean? Like, I can imagine that they guilt trip the fuck out of them.
Yeah, and that's just so toxic and manipulative, right? And it's just like, the fans don't help it either. Like,
and then, I know, of course, the fans.
Like, it's
the
bro, like,
fans.
All those fanatics.
Like you like to troll, fine. You know what I'm saying? You know, we all like to troll series from time to time, bro. But these motherfuckers take it way too fucking far, bro. Like I'm talking like they care way too much, and I mean way too much about it. And I'm just like, my nigga, let these authors write. Like I don't know, you probably haven't been on Twitter much lately, Red, but I don't know if you saw, but One Piece Twitter was on fire yesterday because there was a photo going around talking about like, what if at the end of the series,
Zoro
tries to cash in, like tries to fight Luffy.
If Zoro was like, this whole time I was here to assassinate you, fucking stupid.
Yeah, and everyone was roasting that. Everyone's just like, we're so happy Oda writes One Piece instead of you guys. So it's the same thing. Like, let these authors, they're humans, just like everyone else, you know? Let them live their lives. And I think a lot of people, specifically on any Twitter, are kind of realizing that shit. Like, this is legit. This is no game, bro. Like, these authors are literally, like, working themselves to literal death just to give us peak fiction, and we treat them like shit. You know what I mean? Like, I'm talking about like shit. Like this is some middle school shit, my nigga. Like middle school shit.
Yeah,
like
and it's not even like, I don't know, man. It's just like, why give a shit? Like, fiction, it's for fun. It's a distraction from life. Like, the only people that you have permission to treat like shit, in my opinion, are politicians. Like, because their shit matters, okay? Whereas it matters, but it's not like a life or death thing, and it never will be. It's for fun, okay? So just relax a little bit. Thank you.
And so, like,
by the way, that's my politician joke. Mostly a joke, but like, you know,
there's
some of them deserve to be treated like shit.
All of Texas right now needs a big roasting. Anyway, like, to wrap it all up,
they'll be fine.
It just, you know, cut them and Florida out of the U.S. That's fine.
Just take a big saw, Looney Tunes style, and just saw out the South.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Thurman. We keep California. You just got to run to California while we're sawing it. You got to get out of Vegas and get back to California.
Yeah. I mean, even Nevada's not as bad, but it's still.
I've seen their fucking governor. Ugh.
Yeah.
Their governor was like peak fucking pandemic. They were like, "What? We gotta open the casinos. Come on."
Let's open up the casinos, not the entertainment district. You know, we gotta get that red light money or somehow.
It's literally the only money our state gets.
Just, you know,
anyway, what were you saying, Sir, man?
Just to wrap it all up here on a nice slow boat, because we want to keep this under a certain amount of time, and we've failed to do so.
It's too late. It's 42 minutes.
But
it's okay. He deserves 42 minutes.
Oh hell yeah, the dude's a legend, bro. Like, honestly, when I heard the news, I was just like, damn, that fucking.
Did you cry or no? Be honest.
No, I just thought I'll spill how I don't like to cry.
What a bitch. By the way, I think this is something I truly, truly believe, and please spread this mentality throughout the world, okay? We need to completely reverse how we treat crying, okay? So instead of, oh, are you crying? What a bitch? It should be like something sad happens, you're crying. You look to the guy not crying, you need to be like, are you not crying? What a fucking bitch. What a little baby. like I truly believe that. If you're not crying, there's something wrong with you. Anyway.
Yeah, so I just to wrap this in a neat little bow, like, Thurman, when you messaged me, it didn't sink in. It took me almost a week for this to fully set in. Like, fuck, this is gone, and this hurts. This actually hurts. There's very few things I hold dear, and, you know, from a series perspective.
I was going to say, a list of things David holds dear. Girlfriend, parents, Berserk, in that order.
Alcohol. Throw that in there. Give me my rum. Give me my barrels of rum like Pirates of the Caribbean.
I want to take David and just transport him back into the Prohibition and see how he does. I
would fucking blow my brains out, probably.
You'd also be on suicide watch.
Satire aside, I would probably go crazy because, like, there is a part of me that still absolutely loves that like having a nice drink at the end of the night.
Anyway, but sorry to go ahead.
Like that. there are a few people I've actually felt the weight of their death recently. Like, I've gotten so used to it, especially in 2020. Like, oh, this person died, this person died, this person died. I didn't even fucking cry when my uncle died of COVID.
Yeah,
and that
I have
being
yet to have a celebrity hit me, as well as, like, there's really been no huge family member death for me. I have a feeling the first one's going to be my grandma, and that one's going to fuck me up.
My grandma was the last person I shed a tear about in my family. My uncle was a piece of shit anyway.
Yeah, so like whenever, knock on fucking all the wood, whenever Togashi does go, that one will fuck me up, because that's one of those, like, there's that meme you see a lot where it's like a band and then some teen girl like, your work saved my life, you know what I mean? But like, honestly, if I had to point to anyone's work who really did like get me through hard times and like give me like a reason to live, it would be his.
So for me,
go ahead.
For me, it's been Robin Williams and Chester Bennington, the singer for Linkin Park. Those two hit me the hardest.
Dude, I remember when that shit happened.
Those two hit me the most. I honestly, like, those two people, have been a huge influence on me as a person. So when they died, like, that hit me. And then this week, like, I put out a tweet, like, actually basically 4 days ago, because I can view that because I got the Control Cast Twitter. Like,
we all have the control. What do you want, a medal?
No, like, I have that pulled up because I was responding to tweets. So that one hit me. Like, that one fucking hit me. And I feel like the next one that will hit me, and, knock on all the fucking wood, will be Togashi as well. Because
that one will fuck me up. Shigeru Miyamoto will fuck me up. The Smash Brothers guy.
Sakurai. Yes, bro.
That'll fuck me up.
I swear that's gonna fuck me up. Shigeru Miyamoto, Juice WRLD fucked me up. DMX didn't fuck me as much, but I felt it. Like, like, bro, like, it's like, I swear to God, Tabata.
Kubo will probably fuck me up too, because I have a lot of like nostalgia memory for him.
Yeah,
Oda
will definitely fuck me up.
Yeah,
but that's hopefully forever from now.
Yeah,
like a lot of these people will fuck me up, dude. Holy shit! Like, I swear to God, man. Like,
will Togashi fuck you up, David? I never hear you talking about Hunter x Hunter or anything like that.
Yeah, Hunter x Hunter and Yu Yu Hakusho more so were big parts of my life. Yu Yu Hakusho, I actually went back and rewatched Yu Yu Hakusho a few weeks ago for like the top video that we're doing in August, because I didn't want to fucking
I can't
dig.
Wait, man, that video's gonna be fun. Thurman, you plane ticket in? What's happening?
I'll let you know. I'll let you know about that.
All right, don't wait too long, bro. It's like 3 months away.
I'm buying my con ticket tomorrow.
Worst case scenario, come to the November one if you can't make August.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So like, Yu Yu Hakusho was the series of his that hit me the more than Hunter x Hunter. So I won't fucking. Yeah, fuck you. I grew up in the 90s.
No, I'm just kidding. It's because you don't have a high enough IQ to comprehend.
Yeah. Okay.
Yu Yu Hakusho is for babies.
Okay, Rick and Morty, chill.
I hope you can tell by my voice that I'm trolling.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
I know. But like, I did not want to dig around to find scans of the fucking manga for that.
Hold on,
and
I'm summoning pre-time skip red from the ether.
It's not in the fucking Shonen Jump app for some stupid reason. So I was like, fuck it. I'll watch the anime because I have it here.
Do you remember when I was
I watched
too stubborn to use the until Manga Stream literally got shut down? I was like, fuck you and your app.
I was me with Manga Rock, honestly. I still, like, on stream, I still use Mangaka a lot or fucking some other scan site because, they're easy for, like, all the non-Viz series.
Anyway, my fault for continuing to go off topic. We got 1 minute to wrap this up under 50 minutes. Can we do it?
Yeah. Long story short, respect your authors, please. Love them, cherish them. They don't owe you a goddamn thing.
Very true.
Just know that this is definitely an eye-opener. Stop with the slander of these authors, man. I swear to God, stop. It's even worse for Tabata because these motherfuckers go after his family for no reason.
Yeah, like, I'm no fan of Black Clover, but, like, fuck, dude. It's a series. Like, relax.
Like, it's just so pathetic, you know what I mean?
Shit.
Like, I hate it, bro. Like, stop going after their families. Like, you like, I'm sorry, but if your first like thought to a series that you don't like is to target the man themselves and go after his mother and
not
child.
Not only do that, but to send death threats to all of them.
There are certain people that don't deserve Twitter and like get
help.
banned off,
I'm
like
gonna be
IP
honest.
ban them forever.
I'm gonna be honest. These people need help. Like, you need actual. Like, I recommend therapy for you.
Unironically, state mandated therapy. I'm sorry. Like everyone needs a little bit. Like, it should be like, okay, you know how like in schools they would like send in fucking like oh hey, we got like an eye doctor here to see if you need like glasses or whatever. Did you ever have that shit?
Yeah.
Yeah, like we should just do that with therapy. Like they should call kids in and be like, hey, I'm just here to talk to you about shit. How's life going? Like, we should really do more shit like that. Because, like, honestly, the more you talk to people, the more people you meet in life, you realize, I would argue at least 2 out of every 10 people you meet are like seriously mentally unstable, and you can tell within the first like minute of talking to them. And that's honestly, not necessarily that might be something they were born with. It also might just be the fucking shitty society we live in pushing them to that. Either way, everyone needs therapy. Therapy for everyone. Yep. I'm highly endorsing of that.
Yeah, that's why we need like universal health care.
Oh yeah. You should be able to just walk into a therapist like you can walk into a. I can't even do fucking walk-in checkup. You know what? Like in another country that isn't shitty, you should be able. You can like, oh hey, shit, I got a fucking like toothache. Let me just walk in and get that checked out confidentially. No one's got to know. Same thing with therapy.
You need that. You need to just sit there and be like, I might need some ADHD medicine.
Hey doc, I almost fucking punched out a man for like yelling a little too loud today. I think I might be a little mentally unstable. Check me out for a sec.
Yeah. For real.
Honestly. That's what we need.
It's shocking to me that these people would go so far as to target someone's family, like sending death threats because they don't give you the ship you want, like literally bashing you because they didn't like your ending. Like they did the same thing to the domestic girlfriend author. Like she got literal death threats because they didn't like how she ended it. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not a fan of what I heard how she ended it, but my first thought isn't to send her a letter of how shitty of a writer she is and how I want her to die. Like,
the one that confuses me the most is when people send death threats to like the voice actors that had nothing to do with the writing, which just proves that they are like literally that stupid.
Yeah, like, oh, you voiced this character I don't like. Hey, I hope you die. What the fuck?
Do they think every show is like Rick and Morty where they just improv the dialogue as they go? Like, it was you. It's your fault.
Yeah, like because they did the same thing to Darling in the Franxx author, the girl Ichigo. Yeah, they did it to her voice actor because they didn't like that one episode. Like, bro.
Well, see, for Darling in the Franxx, it was an anime before it was a manga.
Yeah.
So I honestly, from that one, I'm like, oh, I get that.
Depends on what they're doing, though. You can say, hey, wasn't a fan of how this was done. Here's my critique.
Exactly.
No, they didn't like her because of her voice acting. They didn't like her because the character did some scummy shit.
Mm-hmm. I'm just over here like, your source material was the anime, then it became a manga. I'm like, that one makes more sense from like the writing these people, but you don't send fucking death threats to anybody. That's fucking stupid.
So wrapping this up at 53 minutes.
My final thoughts here. Just I am glad that magazines are like, okay, you can take more breaks now.
It does seem like they're semi-learning a little.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to look at Tabata's message on the thing because I know he's probably beat the fuck up about it. I know he's probably heartbroken.
Oh yeah, I gotta look at all the author messages for. Was it this previous Sunday? Were they talking about him, or was it? We gotta wait till next week.
No, it might. Honestly, they might be next week.
Right, because they might have already submitted them. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll be next week because I didn't see anything in the author comments for this week.
Yeah.
That being said, I just glanced over them. But no, like, I'm glad that there's starting this mentality, and you're seeing it more in the animation industry as well, where they're doing more and more seasonal anime because they have been so heavily fucking criticized for the last few years. Like, this animator died at their desk because they were
and no one fucking wins with the old strategy where like you have shitty animation plus everyone hates it. Like, fucking
Yeah, you saw that during the end of Naruto, where people were working like 96-hour weeks.
Yeah, imagine like working a fucking 60-hour week, and what you're working on is like shitty filler. Like it's not even like good stuff.
Exactly.
Like, all right, new intern guy, your fucking first task is to animate the Ninja Ostrich episode. Enjoy.
Was that a thing in the anime?
That was absolutely a thing in the Naruto anime. There was a Ninja Ostrich filler.
Fucking end me.
Well, I'm trying to think of other legendary fillers.
The Star Village arc wasn't horrible.
I'm trying to think of like notoriously shitty fillers.
The Sword Beast arc was okay. The Bound arc was okay. The fucking
Bleach's fillers were always surprisingly okay. Either way, we're hella getting off topic. I love people. Stop being a dick to people. No one owes you anything except for your parents. Peace.
I'll tell you,
Peace.